A Moment with Dr. Audreyann Moses.
Hello, this is Dr. Audreyann Moses. How are you doing? I wanted to tell you how grateful I am for you all coming in to watch my program every day. And today we're going to be talking about burnout. And so, is your plate running over? Meaning, have you filled your plate with so much stuff that you can't even decipher what needs to happen first? It's just there and it's overflowing. And are you headed to burnout? So is burnout in your future? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So what is burnout? I know a lot of you have heard about it, and you maybe even know somebody that has gone through it in one measure or another. So what is burnout? Burnout is a state of emotional exhaustion. It's from work, or from a disturbance in your home, or from something where you are just doing too much all the time. At church, how many of you realize that you can be burnt out of church? If you are, if your position in the church is such that you're always busy. You're busy while you're at church, while you're even doing worship, you're busy doing something, as opposed to enjoying the worship, learning from God, feeling His presence. You're doing something. And then during the week, you're preparing to do something. Ministers, music, the choir and the minister of music, the media people, all of those people, the ushers, they are all doing something all the time, as opposed to just sitting and soaking in the worship time. So you can be burnt out. Sometimes when we look at how we're supposed to position things in our life, when you're looking at how you are supposed to put your things in order, prioritize things. What do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? What do I need to do third? How do you do that? How do you make a determination? Most people, their list goes something like, I got to take care of my family, my kids, my husband, my wife, my parents or whatever. I have to take care of my family. I have to take care of my career, what's going on at work. I have to take care of my spiritual life, which means whatever work I have at church. It doesn't mean your spiritual life between you and God. It means work at church. Then you think about what you need, maybe. Then you think about what you need. So when we're going through all of that, we always put ourselves last. And I know it may sound prejudice or whatever it is you want to say, but women still have a tendency to put themselves last as opposed to first. And it doesn't matter the nationality, all over the world, women tend to put themselves last as opposed to first or second or third. So the list basically is the way I said. You are worried about your family. You're worried about your career. You're worried about your spiritual church. And then you're worried about yourself. When we work on these things, the first mistake we make is what? What do you think the first mistake we make is? It's to compensate for the feelings that we are having. We compensate. If we're feeling stressed out, we do more. Well, we may take a nap. We may drink a cup of coffee. We may read something. But really, we're not dealing with the stress. Stress comes from anxiety. Anxiety comes from something that is happening that's causing us to feel that emotion, to feel uneasy about things, to feel as if we are not going to be able to fix or finish whatever it is. So until we get to the root of whatever that is, we're going to feel that anxiety. We're going to feel that stress. And it's just no way to move that around, what's going to happen is the stress is going to just get worse and worse, because we are going to work harder and harder trying to relieve ourselves. We're thinking, okay, I'm feeling a little stressed because I didn't finish, blah, blah, blah. So then you try to finish that on top of the 5 other things you're trying to finish. So your stress is not coming from the fact that you didn't finish A, B, C, or D. Your stress is coming because you did not pay attention to how many things you have to work on at the same time. That's where your stress comes from. So the other thing is we tend to attack the things that are giving us stress. But really what we do is we attack the things that we really should be paying attention to, which ends up being, the kids are not washing the dishes, so we yell at the kids. The dog tracked mud into the house, so we're yelling at the dog. But really the problem is that we are already overwhelmed, and the idea of having to wash the dishes or clean up behind the dog is much. We'll be right back.
R&B, classic hits, gospel, southern soul, and jazz. What do they all have in common? I can tell you. Emerald City Radio. Tune in to Emerald City Radio at www.emeraldcityradio.com. Like Italian or Sicilian cooking? Well, check out Olive Branch Mediterranean and Italian Grill. They have a wide variety of calzones made with their handmade dough, so whether steak, veggie, ham, or Italian, just to name a few, you can't go wrong. They also have organic salads, Olive Branch kebabs, gyro, beef, or chicken shish kebabs, Olive Branch specialty pizzas, Olive Branch pastas. Yes, I know you're getting the picture. Olive Branch Mediterranean Grill. Dine in or take out. You can't go wrong. Let Olive Branch cater your next event. Stop by today. The Olive Branch is located 109 Birch Tree Drive, Greenwood. They're open Monday through Saturday Friday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call them today, 864-407-4100. That's 864-407-4100. That's the Olive Branch.
Welcome back to A Moment with Dr. Audreyann. And of course, I am Dr. Audreyann. Now, one thing that we do that is just really horrible, not only for us emotionally, but even spiritually and physically, is we skip vacations. We skip vacations because we feel we don't have time. We will say, oh, well, it's kind of expensive. No, it's not. Vacations are never expensive because we can plan vacations and, put our little money aside, have a vacation jar, put our money aside, make our reservations in enough time where it's not as expensive. We can do all of those things, but we don't do those things because we feel that we don't have the time, because we have to take care of A, B, C, and D. And because of those A, B, C, and D's, we do not have time to give ourselves a break. And we need that break. You need it physically, you need it emotionally, you need it spiritually. You need that break from all of this. You are the choir director. Okay, somebody else can direct the choir, I guarantee you. Somebody else can direct the choir. Somebody else can usher at the door. Somebody else can preach a sermon. Somebody else can teach a class. Somebody else can handle that board meeting or whatever it is at your job or at your church or wherever. Somebody else can do those things while you go on vacation for a week. So give yourself that privilege of helping to relieve some of that stress that you have on you. But when you don't take a vacation, you're adding on stress. You're not taking off. You're adding on. Second guessing your qualifications. When we get overwhelmed and we start feeling burnout, one of the things we do is start questioning our qualifications for whatever it is we're doing. I should not be this far behind. I should not be struggling with this. I obviously don't know what I'm doing. We may not say that out loud, but we say it to ourselves. And words have life, whether you say them out loud or whether you say them internally. Saying them out loud puts them in the air, and it gives other people, it gives the demons, it gives whatever it is you believe in an opportunity to use those words against you. When you say them internally, you are using those words against yourself. You are convincing yourself that you're not qualified for whatever it is. And I tell my sons all the time, do not talk yourself out of an opportunity that you know you are qualified for. Don't do that, because we are thinking about, well, I have this to do, I have that to do. Well, you are qualified to do whatever it is that you want. You just have to sit down and prioritize what it is you're doing. And some of those things on your plate belong to other people. Jane, can you do this for me? Henry, can you do this for me? Tom, can you do this for me? No. Learn that word. It's not a bad word. Your plate is already full. Why are you doing somebody else's work? Allow them to do their own work, have their own stress, have their own burnout. Because see, they're giving you your work because they are going to the beach. And you are stuck at work, or you are stuck at church, or you are stuck wherever. So make sure that you give yourself that opportunity to heal your own body, meaning don't take on other people's work. Take those things off of your plate. When you look at your plate, it should be only things that you are personally responsible for. That's whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's at church, it doesn't matter where it is. You have on your plate what you are responsible for, not what other people don't want to do. Okay? Again, it may sound like a cliche, but it's not. Women tend to struggle with being a mother and a wife and a career person. And it's a struggle that has been going on for forever, literally. But women have to realize that they are capable of doing all three. They are capable. I was in the United States Navy. I was a wife and I was a mother. And there were times when I felt like something has to give, because I felt like I didn't have enough time for my home life. I didn't have enough time for my work life. There were a lot of times when I had to choose. I either had to say, okay, I can't come in today. I need to take some time off because my child has chicken pox, and yes, even today, we still have issues where men go to work, women stay at home with the sick children. I don't know when we're going to get over that. But those are added things that are on there. Now, am I saying that fathers don't have that same struggle? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that fathers have it less than mothers. We have a lot of fathers that go through that. We'll be right back.
Soul, R&B, classic hits, gospel, southern soul, and jazz. What do they all have in common? I can tell you. Emerald City Radio. Tune in to Emerald City Radio at www.emeraldcityradio.com.
Come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We open Tuesday through Saturday from 7:30 to 5. And we specialize in oil, tires, and brakes, wheel bearings, CV axles. And but military discount is every day. And on Wednesday we have Senior Citizen Day. So come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We got everything you need. Thanks.
Welcome back to A Moment with Dr. Audreyann. So we've been talking about burnout and how do we feel when we are getting burnout? What are some of the things that causes burnout? So let's talk now about how to recognize if we are having burnout or if we're beginning to feel extremely overwhelmed. What are some of the signs that you want to recognize? Exhaustion. If you are overly exhausted, and I hear people say, boy, I'm just tired all the time. That's just how I am. No, you're tired all the time for a reason. It's either emotional or physical or spiritual or all three. That's why you are tired. So you have to figure out what it is that you're doing that's causing you to be exhausted, that's causing you to feel like even when you're asleep, you're not asleep. You wake up tired. And if you don't realize this, even when you're sleeping, if you are overwhelmed, if your system is overwhelmed, then your body doesn't rest. And so that's why you wake up tired. So are you having some cynicism in your life? Are you criticizing yourself? Or are you allowing other people to criticize you? Or if someone says something, you automatically assume they're talking about you? And you're looking at your plate and you're saying, well, they're talking about me because I didn't get A, B, and C done properly, even though I've done A, B, C, D, E, and F, and it's been accepted. I could have done something different. Things like that we do to ourselves. Again, those words take on meaning, words have life, and if we use them wrong, words will attack us. Our words will attack us. So we have to be extremely careful how we use our words. Ineffectiveness. Are we feeling ineffective? Are we feeling like we are not getting anything done and we are not influencing anybody on anything? That could be a sign of burnout. Because if you know what you're doing, and you do, you know exactly what you're doing. You know how to do your job. You know how to take care of people. You know how to do those things. But if you are feeling that you are being ineffective, that could be a sign of burnout. Now, what you have to do is make your list, pros and cons. Those pros and cons lists, may seem silly, but they work. Pros and cons. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And be honest with yourself. Don't let one list overwhelm the other one just because you're trying to balance something out. Don't do that. Use your list to help you to analyze what's going on and to figure out where you need to go from here. Use those lists for that purpose. Projecting. Are you all of a sudden projecting on everyone else? Projection means that you are blaming everybody else for your inadequacy. If you missed a deadline, whose fault is it? What happened? Make a list. What happened that caused you to miss that deadline? Is it Jane's fault? Is it John's fault? Is it the children's fault? Is it the dog that tracked the floor with mud? Is it that dog's fault? No, what probably happened is you have 15 things on your list. This one is priority, but you pick something else to be priority. Your deadline is coming up. A lot of people in the world wait until the day before a deadline to really push and punch into that deadline. You should never do that. If you have a deadline coming up, you know a week in advance that you have a deadline. Use that week to work on whatever it is you have to do so that you can perfect it and have it done. Don't wait till the day before because you're trying to meet 15 other deadlines. Don't do that because then you sabotage yourself. And we don't want to sabotage ourselves when we are doing our job, when we are working on something. You have an event going on at your job. Say you're an event planner. You're an event planner. You know you have an event coming up on Saturday. It's Monday. You have other events coming up after that. You work on the one that's coming up on Saturday while you're working on the one that's coming up the next Saturday. But the one that this Saturday is the priority. Don't work on other things and then miss out on your opportunity to have a perfect event because you waited till the last minute to go to Hobby Lobby to get the things that you need. And they are out. Okay, so now that's added more stress onto you. Don't wait until Thursday to start getting your list of helpers. You know, who's going to serve, who's going to whatever, who's going to help decorate. And then on Thursday you find out that half of your staff is someplace else doing something else because you waited till the last minute to start putting these things together. You are sabotaging yourself when you do that, and you're causing burnout for yourself. So don't, and you cannot blame those other people. You cannot project your misery out on other people. Another thing we do with projection is when we are overwhelmed, when we are stressed, we are ugly to other people for no reason. Don't do that. Recognizing yourself that you are being ugly to this person because they met their deadline. They did everything that they were supposed to do and you didn't. So now you're angry at them. Why? They did not do anything wrong. You did. So don't project your anger on them. Don't project your stress on other people. Deal with your stress. And that way you won't have stress either. Deal with it. And depression. All of these things, if they are not cared for, will cause depression. If you have stress and you don't deal with it, it will cause depression. And we are going to be talking about depression a lot here in the future, but in a few minutes we'll talk about it some more. Dr. Audreyann. So we were talking a little bit about depression, and only thing I wanted to say so that you can start thinking about this is when you are dealing with burnout, when you're dealing with stress, period, and anxiety, if you don't handle it, and when I say handle it, I mean, yes, you're going to handle it in prayer, you're going to handle it by talking to someone, but you have to personally be willing to search where the stress is coming from. And then once you find that place, then you are going to have to be willing to let it go, fix it, whatever it is you need to do. If it's a family issue, fix the family issue. If it's a work issue, fix the work issue. If you realize that you are allowing other people to dump their stuff on you that they don't want to do, then you have to fix that. Nobody else is going to fix that for you. So you have to fix that. If you realize that you are basically ostracizing your family because you are just being ugly to everybody because you're stressed out, you have to fix that. That's not somebody else's problem to fix, it's yours. But what you need to understand is depression is not something to play with. If you are going into depression only gets worse. It doesn't get better. Your prayers and your studies, your learning, all of those things go into play so that you are not feeling as if you are adequate. You are not. Depression makes you feel like you are really not a real person. To be honest, that's what depression does. So you have to make sure that you do not allow yourself to become depressed. Depression is a bad place to be, and it's a dangerous place to be. So I'm just going to leave that with you so that you can think about it. So now that we have talked about what burnout is, what kind of things cause burnout, how do you recognize if you are suffering from burnout, I just wanted to give you a little research. Research shows that prolonged burnout can cause psychosocial stress that not only impairs personal and social functioning, but it also impairs your ability to even think, or even in quiet. So you want to not allow yourself to get to that point of burnout where you are just not functional. Basically what it's saying is that you are no longer functional, and that can be a bad place to be in emotionally, and on your job, at your home, at church, anywhere. You are no longer functional, and basically you are causing stress on other people at this point, because you are not able to do what you have allowed yourself to take on. Another thing, it overwhelms your ability to think. It overwhelms your ability to, like I said, remember earlier I was saying that, if you feel like you just don't have any energy, that you're just exhausted all the time, all of these things come into play when you are dealing with burnout. And the harder your burnout instills in you, the worse it is. The more you pile on your plate, the worse it's going to be. So I really want you all to consider that. I want you to think about that. I want to think about, are you causing yourself burnout? Are you piling too much on your plate? Are you letting people pile stuff on your plate? Think about those things, and we will have other sessions about how to deal with burnout and depression and stress. So I appreciate you all staying with me for a few minutes. And this is Dr. Audreyann Moses. You can reach me at Transition Life Coach for you, the number 4, the letter U.com, or my email is never say caint, CAINT @yahoo.com. I appreciate you. Thank you. Do not let yourself be burned out. And do not let yourself allow other people to burn you out. You be blessed, and we'll see you next time.